So here it is, Bob Dylan's Subterranean Homesick Blues, which is the European edition of...
Isn't it called something else elsewhere?
Yeah, exactly. This is the European edition of an album that's called... I can't remember.
Bringing It All Back Home.
That's
the
right.
way that I know it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably the second Bob Dylan album that I ever got after discovering him through his infamous Highway 61 album.
So did you just get into it after hearing it off the radio? Did somebody mention it, or...?
No, my aunt introduced me to Highway 61. Really liked it, had discovered the Beatles, heard the name Bob Dylan, and then picked up this one.
Right. So that would have been,
That's
what,
right.
65?
Yes, and this is the one where he really goes electric for the first time. And it's full of blues.
Yeah.
When we look at the titles alone, you know, the Subterranean Homesick Blues.
Yep.
There's Outlaw Blues, and the last one is not a blues song, but it's called "It's All Over Now, Baby Blue," which I think is quite deliberate.
So this is the song I really dislike, actually. I don't know why. It's an irrational dislike, because the one before, It's All Right, Ma,
I'm Only Bleeding.
I love that song.
Yes.
Yeah.
This Dylan album contains a lot of songs that I really love.
Right.
All together. So it contains Love Minus Zero, No Limit, which is one of my favourite Dylan songs and love songs, whether one is into love songs or not. And it's a companion piece to the second one, She Belongs to Me.
Right, I've heard you talk about this one a bit.
Yes.
So what's so special about this one for you?
So again, it's a lovely song about relationship, and it's not bluesy in the kind of traditional sense. So when you hear it, you don't immediately think blues, but it is in a traditional 12-bar blues structure, and the lyrics are traditional. You know, your first line repeated, and then your third line.
Okay.
And it works really, really well, I think, with the guitar. And Love Minus Zero is very similar.
Yeah.
And then you've got all the other great blues stuff, as I said on it, the Outlaw Blues, the Subterranean Homesick Blues. And
it's got Maggie's Farm on it, isn't it?
It's got Maggie's Farm on it, yes. And Dylan said about the opener, the Subterranean Homesick Blues, that it was Chuck Berry. Surprise, surprise.
Yep.
And somebody said that's a country folk blueser.
Okay.
On the Road is also a 12-bar blues or a rhythm and blues number. So it's totally Dylan going to the roots of rock and roll and rhythm and blues through the blues. So that's how I encountered the blues.
Oh, right. And isn't the cover got, if I can remember...
Yes.
Hasn't it got a couple of blues albums on it?
It does indeed. If you look closely, you discover some blues albums on it.
I think it's Robert Johnson's first, The King of the Delta Blues,
yes.
Isn't it?
The great thing about this album for me and about the blues that I encountered on this album is, I guess, two things. So 2 love songs, as they would be defined on it, which I really like, because they're not your standard sort of formulaic approach. You know, I love her, she loves me, or she doesn't love me in terms of the lyrics. They have a much greater authenticity. They're about relationships. There is a sense that they're sort of real relationships and real things that go on between people in them, and that Dylan expresses his feelings and emotions with his very own voice. And like the other blues numbers on this album, what I discovered is blues is about storytelling. You tell your story, and there can be different stories. It can be a story about this relationship, very personal, or a story about something else. And the fact that blues is so much about the rhythm of things, the rhythm of the music, the rhythm of the words and the lyrics. So I guess it's the dance element of the blues, really, and how it drives your storytelling forward. So this is what made me realize that blues was that great thing and to go and explore more.
Cool. If you want to support the channel, like, share and subscribe on YouTube and on Patreon.